Hello and welcome to the Wake Up Call Talk Show. I'm your host, Annie Sally. Well, it's another day that the Lord has kept us. We should give God praise and honor. You know, today is the Author's Showcase. And today I have a very special guest. Her name is Briana Parker. She's an amazing young woman, community advocate, and she's the author of Abigail Did It, So Can You. Well, the Bible tells us in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans of good and not evil, to give you a future and a hope. This young woman will bless your life. So go ahead and like and share and tag this show with your friends. Let's go into the show.
It's time for your wake-up call. Wake up the passion and God's purpose in you. In the Wake Up Call radio show, join host Pastor Warren and Annie Sally and their guests for a powerful dialogue. Real talk for everyone. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Hello, and welcome back to the Wake Up Call Talk Show. Well, this evening, my special guest is Briana Parker. I am super excited to have her on the show. Welcome to the Wake Up Call Talk Show, Briana.
Thank you.
I am super excited. I read your book and my eyes started to leak water because it is so compelling, you know, your story. And I want to share with our viewers and our listeners about your brand new book, Abigail Did It, So Can You. Okay, now Abigail Did It is a children's book. How does Abigail relate to your life? Is this fictional or non-fictional?
Abigail, when I decided to write the book and bring it to life, I kept asking God, what could I name my book? And at first I was like, well, I could name it my name. But then I was like, no, it wasn't supposed to be my name. So he gave me Abigail, David's wife, out the Bible.
Okay.
And the type of woman she was, it reflected me. So that's where I got Abigail from.
Wow. Okay. What inspired you to write this book? What inspired you?
I had been through so much from a young lady, 4 years old, from the loss of my mom to being suicidal, from childhood trauma of being molested, and a teen mom. I have transitioned my whole life. I've had to put a lot of things on the back burner. I had to do a lot of things differently from other people. But when I got to that point and made it through everything, I was like, okay, it's time. I had to heal myself. Absolutely. And a lot of times in life, we look for others to apologize, but sometimes you have to give yourself an apology that you'll never hear.
Okay, I love it. So let's go back. Let's start with the death of your mom and how that affects your life as a 3-year-old. What was that like?
When I lost my mom in the beginning, I was young, so I really didn't know much, what was going on. But as I got older and realized when birthdays and holidays came around, that's when it started hitting me like, she not coming yet. And I would always tell myself, even on birthdays, she coming back. Maybe she just at work. But once I realized as I got older, about death, then I was like, wow, I want a many kids now with no mom. I didn't never get that experience of sharing just everything with her that most young ladies do, and little girls. I didn't get that chance of her teaching me things that need to be taught. I had to teach myself with the help of my grandma. But I just thank God for keeping me on that day that she passed, because me and my sister also was in the car.
Oh, wow, look at that. Well, I read the scripture, Jeremiah 29:11 said, for I know the plans that I have for you, declare the Lord, plans of good and not evil, to give you a future and a hope through all that you've gone through. What blesses me in reading your book, that you were able to push forward. And I know that you had many transitions, and we talked a little bit about the transition of your mom and missing her and wanting her to be there as a little kid. Okay. Then you went into wanting to hurt yourself. What age was that? And could you walk us through it? Now, this was many years after.
I was about 11, 12, I say 13. I was about 13. And I had went through one of the things that some people don't even know how to even talk about. And that's being molested.
Okay.
At the time, the devil himself made me felt like, because of what I had done been through and everything, that I wasn't worth living.
Okay.
I didn't have no reason to be here. The pain from what I went through itself alone was a lot. And I felt like it was so much easier not to deal with the pain, but just count myself out and everything will go away, and then life will be back to normal. Now, and the devil had his own plan. And now I understand why his plan for me was to take myself out, because of my purpose and where I'm at today. And he already knew that God had a calling on my life that was so powerful. Even him himself he didn't want it to birth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk a little bit about the trauma you face, the molestation. You don't have to go into great detail, but who was your support system? Did you tell anyone, or did you try to shoulder the pain alone? What was that transition like?
I kind of kept it in at times. I was wanting to say something at times. And then when I did have the opportunity, I did tell, but I was also scared of what the outcome would be, being so young.
Right.
So I kind of left it in the hands of who I told, and it didn't. Then it was like a tuck it thing. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I dealt with it, but in reality, I really didn't dealt with it because I wanted out.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that was definitely time to get therapy, and also have those to validate you. When you have to tuck it, you feel like just brushed away. And so,
yes,
talk about the transition of finding your worth back, being that you did not go to therapy, you didn't feel validated. Was the authorities contact?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you didn't feel validated, you didn't get anyone persecuted or anything. So talk about how you made it through that dark season of your life, feeling that you were abandoned and you were alone. Talk about that.
Well, I ended up going to a hospital in Charleston for 3 weeks, almost a month, when I tried to commit suicide. And I would have like 5 doctors around me every day, with pen and pencil, trying to figure out if I was schizophrenia, trying to figure out if I had like a mental issue. And I would never respond to them. I would not talk to them. I just would sit there. But at night, when it was time for me to lay down, I would cry out to God. And the only thing I wanted to was to get back to my family. I didn't care about what had happened to me, what I was going to. I just wanted to get back to my family, because that was my safe haven. Okay. So when the chance came for me to go home, because I wouldn't communicate, I wouldn't talk to them, they felt like, well, we don't need you, because they couldn't consider me another statistic.
Okay.
So I would say God, crying out and dealing with it on my own. But as I got an adult, once I accepted and told God, all right, once I had wrote this book, I was going to go into my new life. That book is my old life.
All right. All right. So that was actually therapy,
Yes,
I can recall writing my book, Wake Up Call, Waking Up God's Purpose in You, which inspired the whole network. I actually wrote it during the death of my mom. And so that was therapy for me, and compelling me into the presence and the purpose of God for my life. And I know from reading your book and knowing your story, the very exact thing happened to you. Well, talk about, okay, so I want to help our listeners walk along with us. So your mom dies at 4. You're missing her. You're not quite understanding. Did anyone talk to you about your mom's death? Or was that?
Yes, ma'am. My grandma would talk to us. She wouldn't be very in depth because I don't think she knew how to
Address a kid.
reach us and, help the issue.
Okay.
I got counseling. That didn't really work because I was young. So I figured counseling was like a field trip going to counseling.
Okay. All right. So from the death of your mom, wanting her, trying to take your life, feeling worthless, and then what happens?
I got pregnant with my son.
Okay.
When I came back home at 15 years old, I've gotten pregnant. I got out on my own. I left my grandmother's house. I didn't never return. I dropped out of school to take care of my son because how my grandma had raised me, and from listening to my grandma, how she made sacrifices as a young lady and being a mother herself of 6 kids. I took in everything that she taught me and she told me. Okay. And it molded me, even though I was young, but I made decisions that would benefit me and my son, no matter how much it hurt me, no matter whatever the issue was. So I dropped out of school and I worked, starting at McDonald's. I did every type of job you could think of to provide. My grandma never had to babysit, any of that. She never had to buy diapers, any of that.
Look at that. That's powerful. So God put your grandmother there to undergird you and to continue to mold you because of the fact that your mom was no longer there. So it sounds like you had a great community, a great safe environment that could continue to mold you into the young woman that I see today. So that's a good thing to know. Let me stop right here and say welcome to all of our online viewers, and welcome to our Facebook Live and our YouTube viewers. Thank you so much for checking in. Please, if you have a question, if you have comment, please go ahead and share those comments. And hopefully, between Briana and I, we can answer any questions you may have. Okay, so thank you for joining us. Well, quitting school, you talked about being around, 15? So you get pregnant, you have your son, you move out. Talk about that transition. Wow, I got married and moved out at 19, and man, that was some type of trip. So talk about what that was like, because I know that there's a lot of people out here that are right where you are. You had the help of your grandmother. There are a lot of people that don't even have that support group. So talk about your psyche during that time. What were you telling yourself? 15 years old, out on your own, taking care of your baby. Talk about that transition.
I didn't really too much thought of it. I just did it. And I followed my instincts as a young lady. And in being a mother, I did have help, my son's father and his mother. So it was not like I didn't have help. And even during the time when I moved out, I tried to go back and finish school like 3 or 4 times, but it just wasn't working. And at the time, now I can say it just wasn't my time. No matter how behind I was from my classmates, from everything, wasn't my time for me to graduate.
All right. And that's what I wanted to get into. So here you are, you lost your mom at 4. You went to the hospital for mental health issues at the age of 11. Then you come back home, you get pregnant, you quit school. Now, what in the world? How did you find your way back to school after all of those transitions? You know, a lot of people would have said, just forget it. I'm grown. I have a kid. I'm not doing this. Just feel like they have a reason to quit and not go back. But Abigail went back, and so can you. So I want our viewers to listen deeply and make your comments, because after all of those traumatic instances in your life, you had to have been talking to your psyche. What's going on in your mind? You know, as a little girl, I can recall saying, you know, I want to be a nurse. I want to be this and I want to be that. And I'm going to grow up. I'm going to have a big house on the hill. I'm going to have 3 kids. You know, I kept saying that. And I had detours in life as well, just as you have. Talk about the detour and what got you back on track when you decided to go back to school.
And I decided, it took me 11 years.
Okay.
It took me 11 years. And I began to work different jobs. I had a second baby then in the midst of me after my son. Okay. And my daughter was born with autism. And that was another push for me. So I have a 10-year-old autistic daughter. She broke the mold. She broke the mold. And going through so much with her and wanting better for her, me as a mother, how could I want better for my kids if I didn't want better for myself?
Wow.
So my grandma stayed on me. She stayed on me. She would always, you know, talk to me and tell me, you know, I want you to finish. She didn't get to finish. She dropped out in 6th grade. And it always was a longing in my heart to have to wear that hat and move the tassel. Right, so I always had it in my heart. I just had to push myself to go back and finish and stick with it, no matter how hard it get. It got in, it get it. Different jobs, working as a manager. And when I got hired at Walmart in 2014, I became a manager within 3 months of being there. And I'm like, all right, God, now you blessing me without even having anything. So now it's my time to step up and return what you're doing in my life.
All right. Oh, that's so powerful. So you got a manager position without even having your GED. Look at
no high school credentials, no nothing. The only thing I had was my smile and my personality.
And it's contagious too. I mean, it's beautiful. What God has for you is for you. You know, for I know the plans that I think toward you, says God. Plans to give you a future and a hope. So God was working in the background all that time, even giving you these type of experiences. You know, the enemy meant it for harm, and all the transitions you had to go through. The Bible says all things work together for the good of them that love God and that are called according to his purpose. So look at God working it together for his good. Through the good, the bad, and the ugly, God kept on moving. You know, when we submit our will to God and allow him to take over, he will lead God and direct us into our future. So let's talk about the future now. So Briana has overcome all of these obstacles and she goes back to school, get her high school diploma. And where is she today?
I am in my 3rd year of college.
Look at that.
Once I graduated, I decided to pursue my bachelor's in psychology so I can help others, only because I want to give others what I should have gotten from someone. Yeah. So it was within me. And once I wrote my book, I'm like, all right, God, what you want me to do now? Mm-hmm. And it was just like, it's take off. Let's do this. He had done took me through so much. And from being on the human side, we look at stuff and always say, why God, why me, why this? But to get where we gotta go, we're gonna go through.
Absolutely.
And it's already pre-written. You just have to tune in and understand that when it comes, it's already done. You just gotta walk through it. It might not feel good. It might twist, turn you, but you would never break because God already knew you can make it out. And I feel like God had chosen me because not only from the accident with my mom, but suicide and another accident last year where the devil tried to take me. It's just like, I need you. I can't let you do this. I can't let you birth what you got brewing. But now I can say that the devil ain't gonna win. And God just keep stepping, you know, he's putting the platform out for me to reach others. And that's why also when you notice I'm doing things, it's free. Helping others is free. I can promise you that from the depths of my heart. Helping others is free, whether it's encouragement, whether it's just the smallest little thing you can do for somebody not to give up.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Briana, talk a little bit. You talked in here about the elderly lady that shared her life walk with you. Talk about that. I'm reading this and I'm thinking about this elderly lady. Sometimes it's almost like an angel. Did she really exist, or did God just plan her in your life for such a time? Because I've had those experiences as well, when God would plant people in my life, and I look back today and I've outwalked them. They were for that season. So talk about the elderly lady who shared her story and how her story impacts your life.
The elderly lady in the book is my grandmother also. My grandma would always stay on me. She would talk to me every night. When I went to Tech for a year, my grandma literally called me at 6 o'clock to make sure I was on that road going to school.
All right now.
Even her life story and growing up and seeing it firsthand, she didn't never know, but it taught me some of the lessons she couldn't say or show me. And when she told me that she had to drop out at a young age, she basically like lost herself, lost her dreams, lost anything that she probably could have been today. But because she was a mom and she had to make that decision, it was no question about anything that she wanted to do. It was just out the picture. And her telling me all the time, like, I'm like 6th grade, I'm playing with Barbie dolls. And she dropped out in 6th grade. So that was my motivation. And with her staying on me, and she always would tell me, before I leave this world, I just want you to do one thing for me. And that was go back and finish school, because I completed the wall of all her grands completing high school. So that was a milestone for our family alone, a big milestone. And I promised myself I would go back. At times when I did try it and it didn't work out during those periods, I would kind of beat myself up, but she kept giving me hope. She kept giving me hope. She kept giving me hope. And my sister played a part too. My sister is like my number one. I call her Michelle Obama.
All right now. All right. All right. Oh, this is so powerful. I just want to stop and say hello to Jasmine Cleckley's on here. Jimmy Rhodes on here. Shamika Smith, Latrice Ryan. I thank you all so much for joining us and for backing Briana Parker, a very new author. She is amazing. And this is so amazing. And it is so empowering just to know that you made it through, made it through. There's a scripture said we go through the fire and we go through the flood. The fire will not burn us. The flood will not overtake us. And it's just as if you went through the fire, you went through the flood, and now you're on the other side. So let's talk about the other side. Abigail did it, so can you. So talk a little bit how you talked about what inspired you to write it. Talk about the season of writing. How was that? And did you have a support system backing you? I see you have a great illustrator. The book is beautifully written. It's, people are picking the book up and that type of stuff. So talk about that transition.
The story was already written in a journal. I've always wrote since a little girl. That was one of my safety mechanisms in my safe habit. But I began to work at Mercedes-Benz 2 years now. I met a young lady in the nurse station. Like, we met like 3 days back to back. We was in there for like back pain, ice packs, different stuff. And we had just begun to have a conversation. And she just opened up to me and talking about she had a book, and I purchased her book. And when I just said a little bit, she said, write that book. You're supposed to write a book. You're supposed to have a book. And I'm like, yeah, I done heard it all my life through school, different people that I talk with. And I'm like, the book was actually already written because it was in a journal. But I had to birth it, and she gave me the tools. She told me what I needed to do, how to do it. And I brought it to life. And when I did it, and I actually had got the book, God was like, all right, that's it. I don't need you to dwell on it. That's it. We moving forward.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Briana, talk about what's next for you and Abigail. Talk about what's next for you on this journey, whether it be Abigail or another, another installment of her book or whatever.
Yes. Another book is coming once I graduate. It's coming. Another book is definitely coming. only to give people and others the closure. Sometimes we can see ourselves doing stuff, but until it's actually done, you be like, dang, I did it. So I definitely, my college, everything is coming, even though down to college, because it ain't no roller coaster.
Oh, no.
It have its good days and bad days. It have its setbacks. It have its days where I be like, well, maybe it just ain't for me. But I'm pressing. I'm pressing. And yes, in the future, as God guides me and tell me to move, hope one day I will have a center where it would be free of no charge, where kids can come anytime hours of the night, where even if someone, I want to be a mobile psychologist.
Okay.
I don't want to be behind a desk. I want to be mobile. I want to be a 911 call. So if you got 12 o'clock at night and you need me, I'm coming. If you're up on that bridge, I'm coming up there to sit with you. If we gotta even talk in the drive-through, if we gotta just whatever it is, I don't want to be behind a desk, because my journey was not, I didn't sit on it. I walked with it. I made it. And I want to continue to walk for others and advocate for them when they feel like they can't utter a word. So definitely a mobile psychologist, and I want to be hopefully the first in Orangeburg to offer that. I don't want it to be where it's expensive, even if, it's free. It will be free. It will be free. I guarantee you, be free. And I want God to bless me with a center for kids that they can come 24 hours, just even if they need to get off the streets. And I would rather them be at my center than to be deceased or any type of trouble. And I hope that I can be worldwide and national with it. And I plan on traveling more cities. I plan on going even to Africa to give my books away. I don't care too much about the charge of my book, because like I said, in my heart, and God have told me that this is my ministry. This is what he wants me to do. And I always say, if I can't help millions of people, just let me be able to save one life. And that one life is millions of people to me, because if someone has stepped up and given me the opportunity, what I'm doing to people, it will make a world of difference, a big difference. And that regenerates back to even my mom's death. I would always cry. Even now I cry, not as much. Sometimes I do. But now I understand her death. Her death was meant to be. Her death was to get me and my sister where we at today. And I believe that, sometimes even people with parents, they don't go very far. They don't do the things parents want them to do. So for me, I took it as she had already had a plan for our life when we got here. God had already written one. She just had to remove herself so we can be all we can be and all she wanted us to be. So that's why now I can say, all right, Mom, everything I do is for you, because it was planned. It was written. I miss her. So many things I wanted to experience with her, even just simple celebrating holidays. But I get it now, and I do it. So everything I do it for her, and I will continue to do it for her. My biggest thing is saving other lives, because even molestation is not talked about a lot.
That's right.
It's swept under the rug. And molestation, it can lead to so many other things, and so many people had given up. I'm one that didn't give up. I had the strength to not give up. God didn't let me give up. But some people counted themselves out without even being able to see the victory through it.
Briana, that's powerful. I've got to read a comment here. Portia Brantley says, girl, set up that mobile conversation. You got this. You have to make money, boo, for the kingdom. That kingdom helps you to travel and spread the good news. Girl, make that money. That's awesome. Jasmine said, this is deep. This is so deep and very true. Jimmy says, God bless you. Thank you all for joining us today. Briana, you must come back, because you have so many other areas we need to explore, such as your daughter with autism. We talk a lot about that on our platform as well. Molestation. You are already a community advocate. I've already stated that. That's how I introduced you, because that's what I see in you. And so I just want to have you back so that we can share even the more about this walk and the plan of God for your life, because you have so many areas that can really bless other people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. Please go ahead, like and share this show. Tag as many people as you can and let them know this was an amazing word. Jasmine said, what about your father? How was he a part? How did he impact your life?
My daddy wasn't much. He was there, but not like actively there to teach me what I need to know. But he always on the background. He would motivate me. He would always tell me behind closed doors he's proud of me. And I love my dad at no cost, at all costs. I love my dad because he's the only parent. Without him, I wouldn't be here. But also my daddy was dealing with issues with himself that couldn't allow him to be in my life the way he should be. But I also thank him because even that itself alone, it's a story and it made me strong.
It's a blessing because, you know, your dad was a part of the storm, you know, and so it's hard to pull somebody else out when you're in the storm yourself. He needed someone to pull him out. He was dad, but he still needed to be pulled out. So we will continue to pray for him that God will bring him up and do a new thing in him as well. You know, as he continued to look at you and Renee and all that God has done. And now you've got these beautiful grandbabies, you know, and children, which is his grandbabies. And so I believe your life is impacting his life, whether he says it or not. I really believe your life is still impacting his life. And so we continue to pray for him. We'll continue to pray for your grandmother and everyone, you know, your entire village, because it's amazing to have a great village. You know, those people that you can call anytime, those people that will do whatever it takes to help compel and to help and boost you. And that's what we thank God for our communities today. So thank you, everyone. Girl, you're about to make me cry, said Portia. I'm holding back my tears. I read this book and I tell you, I was leaking in here because it's so empowering. Briana, talk to us about how our viewers and listeners can get a copy of your book.
My book is on Amazon and it's on Amazon for $13. You can also purchase it for me also. So you can reach me on Facebook, send me a friend request. I have my business page, the children's book, and I also have my nonprofit page. I'm always available. Even if I'm not on Facebook, that messenger is on. So tell somebody or send the word and I'll get it to you.
Okay. And I know that you're a community advocate. So when you're doing things in the community, please, you know, message me and let me know. Let's share it so that others will know what's going on, because Wake Up Call is on the call. That's what God has called us to do. We're on the call. So just make sure we know that so that we can back and push you as well. Well, that concludes our show. Briana, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Just seeing that smile and watching all that you're doing, I am so encouraged and I'm empowered even the more. So you never know who you're empowering. Even as you post on social media, you never know who you're blessing. And so you got to keep on doing what God has called you to do at any cost. So, so that's what's next for you, to continue to write, you said, and the book can be found on Amazon. Well, y'all go out there and get that book and be a blessing to Briana's ministry, because she's all about ministry. I can feel it in her spirit. She's all about ministry and undergirding the young community so that they can be fulfill and so that they can have someone in their corner. And Briana, thank you. Well,
thank you.
You're welcome. That concludes our show. Briana, you hang around. We're going to go ahead and close out our show. God bless you all. Be encouraged. Continue to share the show and let others know what's going on with the Wake Up Call. God bless you.